Hi again, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz, and welcome to this special edition of Sports Bash Spotlight presented by TicketBash.com. I am here at Adelphi University, where they are still celebrating the Division II National Championship of Men's College Lacrosse, and with me is my longtime good friend. It's actually ridiculous how many years we've been friends and know each other. Gordon Purdie, the men's head lacrosse coach here at Adelphi University. First of all, congratulations on winning the championship, beating Lenore Rhine in the championship game 12-10. There's so many different layers of this to talk about. Let me just start this way. Has it sunk in yet?
Absolutely
you got this beautiful trophy here that you brought back from Philadelphia. Has it sunk in? As we tape this interview, it's a couple of days away from winning it. Has it sunk in?
It has not. Yeah, we got back to campus yesterday and greeted by the parents, overwhelming support from the university. I've got so many text messages from the game that I have not yet even seen.
That's got to be the craziest part of this, is the amount of people that probably, because I know you know everybody. People joke that I know everybody. Yeah. You know everybody.
I have
especially
1,000 missed text messages that I haven't seen from the day off.
It took you a long time to respond to me.
That's what a lot of people are telling me, and I'm getting in a lot of trouble right now.
I'm just glad you got back to me, that's all.
Thank you. Yes, no, it is. I'm excited to get back to everybody. The relationships that I've had since arriving at Adelphi in '86 have been amazing. This is my home, this is my family now, and people from way back in my '87 team here from Adelphi are all reaching out and just being incredibly, incredibly passionate about how happy they are for me. And it's an unbelievable, overwhelming experience to have won this.
It's the first national championship for Adelphi since 2001. And the late great Tom Petty saying, the waiting is the hardest part. So for you, and you've been so successful here, it's not like, it took a while to get this program going. I mean, you've had conference championships and NCAA tournament appearances. I mean, there's nothing shabby about that. There can only be one winner at the end of the year. It just took a long time to be that one at the end. So was the waiting the hardest part of this whole thing?
I don't know if the waiting is the hardest part. I think, I don't want to say it's the waiting the hardest part. The lacrosse is a game of, it's just such a fun game to play. Mm-hmm. The practices are fun. The people around here are fun. And all of that is, and just being a part of this Adelphi program since 1986, that's 38 years, I've been trying to get a championship trophy. We've been close. My 87, group and my 89 group that are connected feel like, we've lost to Maryland. We were up by 5 at halftime. And the 87 group were up against Cornell in the finals. And so, having to wait is, the exciting thing for me is I've been pursuing in trying to get there and being active. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys back then that haven't had a chance to win this have had to sit and worry about that game. Whereas I've been actually proactive and pulling together recruits and recruiting and practicing to win this.
Yeah.
So while you could say it's the hardest part, for me it wasn't hard to wait. It was just invigorating to go out every day and try to get this accomplished. And I've enjoyed my time here. The craziness is we won it now, and it's taken that long to do it.
Now, I watched the game and watched the videos, and I watched you lift that up off of another table here in the office. It's pretty heavy. Show everybody how heavy that is.
It is heavy. You definitely need two hands.
Yeah.
And to shake it a little bit, you got to be sure to make sure you have it.
I got to tell you something. I have held the Stanley Cup in my life. The Stanley Cup is not heavy at all. People are amazed when the hockey players lift the Stanley Cup over top of their head.
Yeah,
it's not. It's hollow. It's hollow inside.
Is that right?
That is like solid oak. That's a heavy trophy.
It is a heavy trophy, and it's symbolic of the alumni and the support that has been put into this program, from the president who texted me, and the AD that was there with me on the field, and the tears that I had then were just tears of joy of, being able to accomplish this is just
You're
something
still getting
that-
more text messages.
Yeah, we do have to shut that off. I thought the phone, leaving it in another room, would not connect, but I'm sorry about that one.
At risk of making you cry again. And
Yeah.
we're talking to Gordon Purdie, the men's head lacrosse coach here at Adelphi University, on the Sports Bash Spotlight. As Adelphi, the Panthers, are national champions. Gordon Purdie is my guest. At risk of making you cry again, because that's all you basically done for the last 48 hours is cry.
Tears of happiness, tears of
As
joy.
we tape this on a Tuesday morning. And I actually teared up a little bit when I saw and read this, but you were wearing Doc Doherty's shirt for
Yes.
the championship game. So for those who don't know, Doc Doherty is a legendary lacrosse coach here in Long Island. You played for him, not just here at Adelphi, but also for the New York Saints in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. And he's no longer with us, and I know that meant a lot to you to wear his actual coach's shirt for the game on Sunday. I'll forgive you if you cry again. It's okay. But what did he mean to you, and could you feel his presence at Lincoln Financial Field
I could.
on Sunday?
Yeah. I mean, in 1986, when I made the Australian team, went to Canada, played there, flew down to JFK Airport. I made a decision to not go home with the team. I said to them, listen, I'm going to go try to find a school to go to. And getting off at JFK, I had no idea where they play lacrosse. So I went to New York City library. And at the library, I sort of reached out. I had a phone number, which was Tom Flatley.
This was just like a thought that came through your mind. I'm not going home. I'm just going to wing this and go to New York.
I'm going to wing this and try to find a school. I don't want to go home right now. I felt like I didn't play a lot, and I'd worked so hard to play up in those World Games, and I'm an 18-year-old kid, and I had to put my time in. And I felt like all this money I'd raised to get here, this was my chance. I'd written to 5 schools, pressed really hard on the sheet because I didn't have a Xerox machine at home, so I had the copy paper back in the day. I only got one response from
No emails then.
No emails,
no like
computer,
social media, nothing.
No social media, no cell phones. We got 1986. Not even a computer. So at that point, I went to the library and asked them, had a phone number for Tom Flatley, one of the greatest coaches from Garden City.
Absolutely.
And he'd actually coached here in 85, 86. And so he said, why don't you try Adelphi? He was coaching on the USA staff. So I called his wife, and she's like, Tom's at football. I said, okay, I'll wait. I walked around the New York City, called him, and he said, you got to get to a school called Adelphi. So I made my way back out to the island, and it was Paul Doherty that took me under his wing, became my father here in America, and gave me the chance to get a scholarship here at Adelphi. And it was there that I made a commitment on Stiles Field to attend Adelphi and to wear his shirt at, during the game with his daughters and his wife, that was cheering us on. It was really just a thank you to him.
Mm-hmm. And he wound up coaching the New York Saints too, and you played
Well, that
for him.
was actually Doc Doherty from Garden City.
Right.
Yeah, so there's Doc Doherty from Garden City and Paul Doherty from Adelphi. So two different
Oh, it's two
Doc
different
Dohertys.
guys.
Yeah.
My bit on that, but it still made you cry.
And wearing the shirt and being reminded of what he'd done for me and how he'd just treated me like a son. I happened to marry his secretary. I was in his office so much. I was always connected to his secretary, and we've been married now for 34 years, and our son, we were blessed to have a son who went to Adelphi.
Yep. And another lacrosse player.
Another lacrosse player, that played at Limbrook and went on to play for Australia, and it's just been a true blessing, the experience of what lacrosse has given to me.
How about your players? Because obviously, there's only so much a coach can do. You can set the culture here, you can put in the game plan, you hire great assistants, you do all the work to recruit. The players ultimately then have to get it done on the field. Talk about your players, their growth for the seniors over 4 years, and getting to this point with them, where they have a chance to win a championship.
It's been an incredible experience. Having coached here for 17 years, that's really 16 times we didn't win this. And so you look back on that as a coach, you finish a year, you have your year-end meeting, and you say goodbye to your seniors, and you just hope that you've been an impact in their life that's going to change their life for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. So for the 4 years that I might have a student athlete, it's just a true blessing to be able to mentor those players. And, while we've been able to be successful, the joy and win this, the joy truly is that opportunity to spend 2 hours on the field with them every day.
Yeah.
As much as it's fun to win this,
Yeah.
my true joy, and I can share that amongst my coaches, we do it to win, but it's also that opportunity to connect and to mentor these student athletes here at Adelphi, and it's truly a blessing. I know how important it is to be that guy, because Doc was that guy to me, and if I can just be a piece of what Doc was to some of these guys, I'll feel like I've done a great job.
Tell me about the recruiting aspect at the Division II lacrosse level, because I know from other sports, obviously, you don't have to go to Alabama or Florida State or Clemson to make it to the NFL in football. And there's different roads to get to the NBA, whether it's Europe or whatever. In lacrosse, you don't necessarily have to go to Duke. You don't necessarily have to go to Notre Dame. I mean, the roads to be a successful lacrosse player can come from anywhere. How does that help you here at Adelphi at the Division II level in convincing a student athlete that this would be the right path for them to go on?
Well, Adelphi is a wonderful university. And really, while we want to play lacrosse for a couple of hours a day, it's really the education you're going to get here. So while we may say, come and play for us, it's really, we're going to get that education for you so you can go out and get a great job, follow your dream in life. Most of them aren't going to be college coaches, although a lot of them end up doing their high school coaching and being great teachers and mentors and giving back to the program. So, the sell is really Adelphi, but while that may be the case, to go Division II and to be able to come and play here and to compete for this every year, and I don't know my stats on how many times we win.
It looks like the same one that Notre Dame won.
It does look like the same.
It looks like the same one, so there's no difference.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
And to play for a national championship, whether it be Division I, II, or III, you get the same excitement to be able to do that. And I can tell you that because I've played at a club level, I've played professional lacrosse, I've played for, and been captain of Australia before. When you go out and compete, it doesn't matter what level you're competing at. That joy that you get when you compete and, that competition, it's the same in your body. I mean, I used to have competitions with my son in my backyard, and I remember thinking, man, this is fun. And you can have fun in your backyard, fun on any stage.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level. I mean, those Saints games when we had 17,000 people, those were fun. But I don't see
I'm going to get to that in a couple of minutes.
I don't see them any more fun than
No.
a good practice here on any one night, because these players that I've just had, they get after it.
When I saw the end of the game on Sunday, I thought of two people. I thought of you, obviously. You're the coach, obviously. I also thought of Mike Nelson, who I know mutual friend of ours, and played here as well at Adelphi, and is a huge figure for lacrosse on Long Island with the Long Island Metro Lacrosse Foundation, and so I know it meant a lot to you, and I know it meant a lot to him.
Keep going with what that guy does.
Well, he does that. He does everything. So
we were in wheelchairs out east, during the year, and Mike helped set that up to play the Hammerheads, and it's an incredible opportunity of what he's given back to the game since he graduated here.
No question about it. You mentioned the Saints, and I brought something with me.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Here
so
we
just
go.
hang on one second. So I was the radio voice of the New York Saints that Gordon played for in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. I was a fan for a couple of years, and I got the radio job, 93 to 96. So in 1996, you guys were practicing on Wednesday nights at like 9 o'clock at night in Syosset. It was Shep Messing's old soccer world, right? So one night, Vinny Pfeiffer, the head coach, says, we have to come here Friday morning. News 12 wants to do a little something.
Uh-oh.
None of the goalies were available. So Rich Flynn was the backup goalie, gave me his equipment. And he also gave me this jersey.
Wow.
And I still have it.
Look at that.
How about this? How about this?
That is
and
great.
And by the way, I know he doesn't like it when I bring this up, but I robbed him with a glove save during that practice that morning. And it was very nice of the Saints to let me keep this jersey, 36. I don't know what that number means, but I know the chest protector didn't fit.
It didn't fit.
Tim McEntee fired a shot right at my stomach.
I think that's the spot that he might have hit you right there. Yeah.
I want to put that down on the table because
that's going to make me feel
because
at
the
home.
Saints eventually also changed their
that.
logo.
They did,
and went to the St. Bernard.
St. Bernard.
Which one did you like wearing better?
I got to tell you, I did like this one better.
Yeah, you like that one better.
I did like this one better. I can't tell you why. Maybe the color. I just, I started.
Match the Islanders.
That could have been it.
Yeah.
That could have been it. And I've got to tell you, playing in this jersey back at the Nassau Coliseum, I've got so many fun memories. And those teammates, Tim McEntee was the NCAA rep here for one of our games. I remember he gave me my first jacket. He also was an LIU guy. He gave me my first jacket in this country, believe it or not. And we battled, with this jersey. And then he went on to represent USA.
Yes.
We were competing in Perth, Australia, and facing off against each other. And the ref said, amongst our chitter, if you guys don't stop talking, I'm going to throw you both out. Once again, lacrosse is just a great place to make new friends.
It is, and I for years I was involved in lacrosse, different stages of it. Now my son Bradley's just finishing his high school career as a face-off guy and is going to go on to play football. But lacrosse, it brings people together, and it certainly did for us. I mean, we wouldn't have our friendship if it wasn't for the Saints. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you quickly before we get back to obviously the story at hand, and that's winning the national championship. The National Lacrosse League gave Long Island another shot a few years ago with the Riptide, and it was very sad to see that it didn't work out, and they're moving to Ottawa. And I know you were, and along with a number of Saints alumni, including myself, and I consider myself a Saints alum, were ecstatic when they gave another chance. I was lucky enough to get the Riptide radio job for a couple of years, and it just didn't work out. How disappointed were you, and do you think that if Long Island got it again, they'd have to go about it a different way?
Yeah, I don't want to face the fact that they're leaving, because these memories, we had a chance to go out and support the Long Island Riptide. I had players playing at halftime for, Checkmate, which is a team that I love to coach, younger players to learn and grow the game. So to see them and hear that, I just haven't actually come to terms with that yet.
Yeah, it's sad. I think, and I've told people this before, I think the Riptide did a lot of really good things. I think they did a lot of things to grow the game on Long Island. But I think the problem was that, more so from a league standpoint, was that the box lacrosse sport evolved to the point where you went from a regional team, like you guys with the Saints, everybody was from Long Island or Queens or Manhattan.
Yes.
And Baltimore, all the players were from Baltimore. Pittsburgh, all the players are from Pittsburgh. And now you get to the point with the NLL is you've got all these box players from Canada have made up a majority of the players. This past season, not one player on the Riptide roster was from Long Island. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I've come to realize this once Bradley really started playing lacrosse in middle school, was that the Long Island lacrosse community is very, very close-knit. You know this from being here enough. And they're all about, wanting to see their own. And I think if it came back again, I think the NLL would have to, change, at least for the Long Island franchise, you'd have to have some Long Island players at the risk of not being as good a team maybe and maybe I'm making an assumption there, at the risk of maybe not being one of the better teams, I think they would draw more fans if the players were from Long Island, and you'd have more people. Gordon down the block is playing at the Coliseum on Saturday. That's what made the Saints so great.
Yeah, well, I would be buying hundreds of tickets back then. So with everybody who wanted to go, it was such a good time. We like I said, we had 17,000 people at games. We were out drawing the Islanders.
There were a couple of nights that the Islanders played the night before, you guys played the next day, and you guys drew more fans. Do you remember? Do you remember we were flying to Carolina for a game, and Sal Lacasio was on a business trip, and he had to meet us in Carolina, and I think Rich Flynn was getting ready to play goalie, and he had to convince the stewardess on his. The flight attendant on his flight to let him sit in first class so he can get out of the plane, and he made it. And I go on the air with the pregame show, not even knowing if he was going to play.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, running out, you guys run out of the locker room, and there's Sal Licasio playing goalie.
Listen, the memories are so. You're bringing that memory back, and I remember that one, and it's like, it was such a opportunity to sort of say, wow, this is such a crazy life we're living, to even get a chance to fly, get a chance to play lacrosse at that level. I remember on the flip side, one of the D1 coaches right now and I were on video games right before we taking off to come back after a game. And he's doing real well at Donkey Kong, and I'm there doing my game. And I go, listen, it's close. We better go. And he goes, yeah, we're good. And I said, well, I'm going to leave. I started running. They closed the door behind me. This current college D1 coach got left behind. I mean, those memories will be there forever. It was a lot of fun.
If it comes back to Long Island, I think you should be the coach or the general manager. We can bring back some of the old Saints people. I'd like to get a bigger front office job with the team. Can we try to make that happen? If the NLL gives us another shot?
I would love to be involved if it does come back. I know the guys that are there, I've reconnected with them because I just love what they're doing, and I'm really sad it's not going to be around.
Absolutely. Let's circle back to Adelphi. And the game. I mean, obviously, the memories that come alive now for you with winning the trophy, the end of the game, and everything. But there was a point in the game on Sunday you guys were trailing, and I know your team has fought all year long. You had a big winning streak, and they came from behind against a really good team. It's one thing to win that championship, but it's another thing to do it in the way that you guys did it.
Yeah. So it was 8-4 down at one point. At 8-4 down. They've doubled up on you. You're everything can be tested. You've set up this game plan. We weren't quite doing what we should have done. Renner had eight saves in the first quarter, so he set the tone that it's going to be tough. But Coach Volpe had his own in place, and Danny Gill had his own in place, and I think that began to frustrate them. And then the first half, we threw a few things at them, and then we sort of went in the second half as that game got a little closer. We shortened the bench because we played a pretty large bench in the first half because we knew how hot it was. And then when we came out at halftime, it was raining. And all year, we've had some issues with rain. Yeah. We've had practices that's just complete downpour out here where it's hard to go outside with, just so much rain. We had a game right here at Malloy. We showed up at the field and there was so much rain, the field was bubbling 2 feet high.
Oh, geez.
And we got that canceled. And so, we relish the rain. We had games here where it's pouring with rain and we've done really well. So we call ourselves the Rain Dogs, and everybody knew it. All our players going out in practice.
No relation to reindeers?
No, Rain Dogs. And so we're going out as Rain Dogs and cheering it on and loving the practice opportunity. And at that point, when we came out at halftime, it was raining.
Yeah.
And as I walked out with the team, we all felt it. We felt this is our time now. And I think that rain gave us a sense of we can do this. And then our defense was, complete shutdown. I think they had 3 shots in the last quarter, and Renner played great, and everybody stepped up, did their job. And, we had jobs and roles, and, the practices prior to, we believed if we won those practices, we'd be able to win in the fourth quarter. And that's what it buckled down to, was players believed in themselves that if they did what they had to do, they could win. And it was those players that stepped up and did that helped us win a championship.
I know the answer to this question. I'm going to ask it anyway. How much do you love those guys back there?
Forever, I'll love these guys. It's, as I look at these guys and the smiles on their faces and the challenges that they've had to even get here for many of them, it's truly a blessing to get to know each and every one of those guys. This guy gave up his eligibility to get us here. We went and won 0 face-offs against St. A's. I don't remember any school ever going through and doing that. and he had an ACL injury that happened on this field. He worked his tail off and brought us back and won 6 out of 17, which gave us the chance to get to the next game. You know, you could choose any one of these guys, and there's stories behind just faces, and those stories are what is the joy for me, is getting to know these guys on and off the field.
I saw there you have the banners of all the championships that have been won here. That 2001 banner was kind of lonely for a long time, and there'll be a 2024 banner that goes up. So now, what do you do for an encore to get that 2024 banner some company?
Yeah, so you just remind these guys that we got a meeting today at 4, and you remind these guys that while this is great, we're going to go ring ceremony, we're going to do everything else that goes along with that. We are now the hunted.
Yeah.
We are now the hunted. So, you know, while we've been hunting this for many, many years, it's going to be now, and we weren't certainly not picked to be anywhere close to this. Even in our own region, we were picked 3rd. So these guys earned that through the hard work, I believe. I believe hard work pays off. And so I'm going to remind them now, the season's over. It's time to get to work. I told them we had Monday off. Yeah, I didn't say we had Tuesday off.
It never stops.
No, it doesn't.
I got to see how heavy that is.
Go ahead.
Can I see how heavy that is?
Go ahead. You gotta grab it.
Let's see.
You got
You
it.
got 2 hands, right?
You will need 2.
hands.
Don't drop it.
No, I'm not going to drop it. What do you think? I'm crazy. I've held 2 babies in my,
There
2
you
of my
go.
own.
I think that weighs more than a baby.
This is pretty cool.
It is pretty
Let me
cool.
put this down now before I get a little too clumsy, because I tend to be a klutz once in a while. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, Peter.
Awesome, well deserved. Gordon Purdie, the head men's lacrosse coach here at Adelphi University. The Panthers are national champions for 2024. I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for watching this edition of Sports Bash Spotlight presented by Ticketbash.com, and we'll catch you again next time.